Being born in a duck yard does not matter, if only you are hatched from a swan's egg. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tiltingground Untitled Notre Dame USC football podcast. I'm Michael Muto. I'm here with Greg Flamong. Hi, Greg. How's it going?
Hey, buddy, we're back.
We're back. It seems like forever.
It has been a long time.
I mean, but we can only go when there's news. We can't make up football news, right? It's the off season.
We're not going to do that to him, Michael.
No, we can't.
If we don't have something legit to talk about, then we're not going to talk about it.
And we got a lot of legit things to talk about today. Should
we do now.
Start with the big news?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Lynn Swann is the new athletic director at USC.
Yep.
Shocker?
He fits all the criteria. He was a former player.
Check.
And that's it.
Oh, no. He's a former player, Augusta member.
Oh, Augusta member.
Sports broadcaster.
Sideline reporter.
Whatever.
Sports broadcaster is that's a little loose.
He was on the TV.
I mean, OJ was a sideline reporter. By the way, why, man, if he wasn't in prison, if he was that's a good one. If OJ was never, in this little situation, he would definitely be the AD.
Oh, I mean...
Is there any question?
There's no doubt about it. I mean, minus the murdering of people, he's a very affable guy that people like.
Besides that,
he fits the bill. Former player. He's a Heisman winner. I mean, he's got that over these other two, over Hayden and Swann.
It's true. And he was a sideline reporter. I mean,
it's perfect.
He was in the National Treasure, Naked Gun. So.
That is true.
I mean,
you're right. If OJ was not a detriment to society, just a really black mark on the USC charges record book.
So what's your feeling on this? I mean, I can imagine what it is, but what do you?
So today, when I was getting into my car after work, I was thinking about Lynn Swann, and I actually was thinking that. I feel like it just kind of went away after the announcement. It was like, hey, Lynn Swann's the new AD. All right, cool. Everyone go about your business. And I think the feeling is, can't be worse than the last guy.
Well, didn't they announce it the same day as Kobe's last game?
I believe that's true.
Isn't that what happened? So that's why I got lost.
True. I heard that the Rams held their trade, their number one draft pick trade in respect of Kobe. I don't know if that's true or not.
No, I definitely heard that.
But yeah, no, I guess that's right. I mean, it's spring too. It's the middle of no football talk, just like we said at the front of this thing.
Right.
So, and I also think, he just can't do worse than the last guy. I mean, the last guy had a coach who was fired for being drunk on the sidelines. He had a coach get hired before they lost to Oregon. What else did Pat Hayden do? He fired a guy at an airport. It's just a comedy of errors for the Pat Hayden era. So, how bad could it be? Honestly, what could happen?
I mean, that's a great tagline. Lynn Swann, he can't be worse.
I really think that's it.
It's hard to really say, oh, we should have gone after such and such, because who knows what's an AD, who are the other AD candidates out there? I have no idea. When Notre Dame got rid of Kevin White, the previous athletic director, who was hot garbage, when they got rid of him and they hired Jack Swarbrick, I mean, I don't know who that is. I've never heard of him before. But it just seems it's just fitting with the way everything goes. The last three athletic directors have been former players.
Yeah.
And it's the best thing that Lynn Swann's done is be a member at Augusta. I don't get it.
He ran for governor of Pennsylvania and lost.
Great.
I think he's on the board of directors for the Big Brothers Big Sisters charity, so that's good.
That's not nothing.
I think he's on the board of directors of another big company, and had I been more prepared, I could have told you what it was.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, just because you're a good businessman doesn't mean you're a good AD. But like you just said, what makes someone a good AD? I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're an AD, it's really just you're the one who makes the boosters happy, and then you're also the one who makes sure things don't go wrong. Like you shouldn't be in the news. Like I shouldn't know who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like Notre Dame's athletic director is actually like very important because they have to navigate through like this independence thing while also like putting the other sports in conferences. So, like every sport besides football is in the ACC, and like keeping Notre Dame independent, like that's a pretty big deal. He had to sign up. He had to sign up Under Armour. Um, they moved like the hockey team to the Big Ten now, so the hockey teams are part of the Big Ten. All the other sports are part of the ACC. Notre Dame's independent.
That's weird.
So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done.
Logistically, I mean,
Yeah,
but that's kind of behind the scenes stuff, though.
right.
It's not like
Right.
wins and losses kind of things.
But it's like, can you imagine like Lynn Swan navigating all of that?
No, I cannot.
I mean, maybe he doesn't have to. Maybe that's why it's fine.
Well, I heard today from one of my only sources, Scott Wolf, that John McKay, or the John McKay the Junior, the younger,
Isn't he dead?
is probably gonna leave. I think it's J.A. McKay actually is yes. He's probably gonna leave after before the season starts because he was a Pat Hayden guy.
What does he do?
He's like the football compliance guy, so he's like the AD of football.
Oh, I get you.
So he's kind of in charge of the football team. We're like a vice president, and whereas the AD is in charge of everything.
Yeah.
And when SC got in trouble for having too many Hollywood stars on the sidelines and the Pete Carroll kind of stuff, that's when they brought that, or the sanctions. That's when they brought that position in to kind of police just the football program.
I get you.
Which, by the way, Clay Helton said, I believe it was today, that SC's not going to be Hollywood anymore, which just infuriates me.
Well, that's exactly what like built the SC brand, and that's exactly what Pete Carroll was all about.
Well, right. I mean, yeah, but it's like you're the football team in one of the best places on earth. No hyperbole there, and
yeah.
You're like, oh no, let's alienate us from one of the cool things about where our school is.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, great. Now we're just like Miami, Ohio. Cool.
Be like Byron Scott saying, we're not Hollywood anymore, the Lakers.
Yeah. And let's stop shooting threes while we're at it.
Like he'd be immediately fired.
Showtime? What's that? No way.
Even though I was in it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the exact same thing. It's like, no, USC, this is your brand, your LA, your sunshine, your palm trees, your movie stars. Yeah. Come on. And I know that the stars come when your team's good regardless. But just to say it is kind of almost defeatist.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not Hollywood.
Yeah, like way to forge your own identity, Clay Helton.
there was a good Lynn Swan quote, and I gotta find it so I don't butcher it. I got the gist of it, but then they asked him about Clay Helton at the spring game, which we will get to.
Yes.
He said, I think it was on the big screen. What did he say? He said, there we go. He wants the job more than I want him to have the job. Talking about Clay Helton.
What?
That's a real quote.
He wants the job more than I want him to have the job. I mean,
I think what he was trying to say was that Clay Helton really wants to be the coach. He's really excited about the opportunity. It came out, like Lynn Swan doesn't want him there. I don't think that's what he meant. That's the way it came out.
If you walk into a situation and like in any walk of life and you tell other people about the person who's in charge of, let's say you work for a company and you walk into a situation and that's the person in charge of sales, and you go to your like board of trustees and you're like, I'm gonna tell you what about this guy. He wants the job more than I want him to have the job. I mean,
Just leave.
what?
Just leave now.
Yeah, it's like, all right, great, that's fantastic. All right, well, let's get to actual football then.
All right.
So you mentioned right before we came on, that SC didn't have a spring game.
So what I kind of gathered from listening to the podcast, reading articles, and the few highlights I saw here and there was that they didn't have a full game. It was kind of like it was just like almost like an open practice, and there were about 25,000 ish people there, probably less. It's not like Ohio State where there's 100,000 people
That's
watching.
That's actually a pretty good number for USC, I have to say.
Well, I think they're trying to grow it. It's like, I think this is like the start of them trying to have that spring game like these other schools have.
That's pretty good because Notre Dame's was like 28,000.
Wow, I thought it'd be more.
No, it's always that big. There's never they never have that many people. The problem is because like it's on NBC Sports Network, so you can just watch it. So like other places, it's like it streams online. Like Ohio State's, like they stream it online, but you can't watch it on a national network. So it's like if you want to see it, you got to go.
I also imagine it's a little harder to get to South Bend. Like you got to really make a day out of it.
You're not going to come in from Chicago or whatever. It's mostly people who are just in the area. It's very easy for them to kind of show up.
Whereas I think Columbus is a rather large city.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways, back to USC. So yes, one of the reasons I heard for the lack of a real game was the front seven depth. There's still not that many defensive linemen. There's only a couple edge rushers. Cam Smith still coming back from injury. So there's just not a lot of guys to go on defense. Dory Jackson's high jumping or long jumping somewhere.
Yeah.
So just to make sure that the defense could get their reps, they couldn't really split the teams up that way.
That makes sense.
Which is fine.
Yeah. So what were I guess, from not just the spring game or spring practice or whatever, but just like from what you saw, like what is like the one thing or the couple things that like make you feel good about what might happen next year? Like what are the positives that you've taken from spring practice this year?
So the one thing I like the most is a twofold. The skill positions. Running back, I heard Justin Davis looks great.
Yeah.
Ronald Jones II is still Ronald Jones II.
The monster.
The backups, Dominic Davis. He's supposed to be. They're just trying to figure ways to get him the ball just because he looks so good. So the running backs are great. There's like 15 wide receivers in camp, or not in camp, it's on the NFL, on the team. So there's, Juju Smith-Schuster, who, we all already know is great. I kind of actually don't like that there's some established receivers already there, because I feel like I know what they can do, which is fine. Like Steven Mitchell Jr., he got hurt last year, so it's not really a total knock on him. And oh no, what's the other guy's name? Darius Rogers.
Yeah.
He's been around forever. So like, I kind of feel like I've seen his ceiling, and I'd rather have, someone like Michael Pittman or Isaac Whitney, like one of those guys, just get a shot.
Mm-hmm.
But no, skill positions. I went negative there. So, but skill positions, I'm really excited about. Running back, wide receiver. There's a million guys who can do a million different things. So that should be fun.
I mean, the good news is you have the star in Juju Smith. So really, like you said, there's so many options. You just basically need one of them to hit.
Right.
And whether it's Steven Mitchell or Darius Rogers, or whether it's Trevon Sidney or one of the other freshman receivers that they have coming in, like they have so many options that they only need one. Like really just one guy needs to, be reliable on the other side. And really like look at what look at what. Why can't I remember his name? It's amazing that I don't remember this guy's name. He's my favorite player, Marquise Lee. Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Look at what he did for Robert Woods in his freshman season. Like Robert Woods was kind of the established, like he was a sophomore. He had a really big freshman year. And then Marquise Lee came in, and like he didn't have a super strong start to the season, but he made like at least one play a game to the point where it's like you had to worry about him. And so then it opened things up for Robert Woods. And like if that happens this year, it's like opening things up for a guy like Juju Smith is, I mean, that's a real problem for teams that you just don't have to deal with. And what'll probably happen is, they're gonna have to send safeties over to help on Juju Smith because he's so big and he's so fast. And now he's gonna be in his third year. Like whoever steps up, like they're gonna get single coverage all the time.
Can't wait.
Yeah, and it's just like I said, there's so many people, and not just that, but like you just said with the running backs, it's like you can't completely send safeties over to anyone because they're gonna have to deal with the run. You know, so I mean,
it's a good problem to have, and they all seem to be good. It's not like we don't know if these guys are good or not. Like a majority of these guys are like quality players.
Yeah.
So that is the one thing I'm most excited about: skill position.
Okay. What's one of your big concerns then? Like, what worries you? What is not answered?
So we already mentioned it: is the D line and front seven.
Right.
But that's obvious since they don't even have enough guys to go. I'm a little worried about just the defense in general. I just don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. They're going to run a 5-2. So what's that? 4 down linemen, 2 real linebackers, and then some like attacking edge rusher guy. Like, that's a lot of people in the box, and they don't have a lot of guys.
That sounds like it would have been a great role for Sua Cravens, actually.
Oh, that might have been pretty smooth. It's supposed to be Porter Gustin since Scott Felix is no longer on the team.
Right.
So it's supposed to be Porter Gustin who's supposed to be the Clay Matthews type, I guess, for lack of a better parallel.
Okay.
And I'm okay with that. He had some flashes last year.
Yeah.
But if there's no defensive ends and there's no D linemen, it's actually I don't even want to say that. I think the guys they have are fine. The 6 guys they have. But the problem is if someone gets hurt or if someone's not performing, they're in trouble. The depth is going to be the issue.
Right.
And when you carry 13 wide receivers, maybe you could have picked up another defensive lineman instead of that extra wide receiver.
Uh-huh. How's Batiku looking?
Good. He's supposed to be real raw, but physical, like real athletic. This is the NFL draft is coming up. He has the measurables. He's big, he's fast, he's strong. It's just now they got to maybe coach him up a little bit.
What's the word on like what kind of role he'll play? Like,
I don't know.
Did they see him being like a situational guy, or?
I thought he was gonna. They don't have a lot of guys, so I mean, he's probably not gonna start right away. I think he's gonna get his reps, and he's gonna be out there, and he's gonna, I thought I read somewhere he might be in that attacker edge rusher position every now and then, which is kind of interesting. The Predator, I believe, is what it's called.
Oh, what a name!
Yeah. So he's just so raw. So I mean, we shall see.
Okay. So I guess, with both of our teams, there's going to be the elephant in the room, like what's going on at quarterback.
Right. That's the one thing. I mean, I think it's pretty good that it came up third on our list of things to talk about for USC spring.
Mm-hmm.
So going into, I guess, fall practices, I don't know, summer practices, like I don't know what they call it. It's a draw for USC. It's supposed to be a dead heat. I know Sam Darnold didn't throw an interception for I don't know, it was like a week almost, like a bunch of practices in a row where he just did not throw an interception,
Uh-huh.
which is pretty good for a freshman.
Right.
So that's good. But Max Brown is right there. He's older and he knows the system a little better, so he gets the nod. I think if it's close. And right now there's no starter. It's probably going to be Max Brown.
Right.
I just can't imagine you going to play Alabama. It's like, all right, freshmen, have at it.
Sam Darnold, good luck to you.
Good luck.
I saw an article, and the headline was, oh no, I'm sorry, it was a tweet, and it was something to the effect of, Sam Darnold may not start, but he looks great.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be the word. The word around USC is these guys are just right there with each other. There's no real difference. And Jalen Green has looked good through spring.
At quarterback.
At quarterback, yeah. I mean, he would be the backup if it wasn't for these two guys. He's right there. So I don't know what he does.
He would be the backup
like
if
that?
it wasn't for the two guys who were better.
Yeah. Well, the two, but they're starters. Yeah, I figure one transfers, right? The other one.
Well, I mean, is there a possibility that they both play? I mean, is that?
I just feel that's
is that on the table?
I don't think they're different enough to where you want to do that.
Right.
Like what's with Texas last year? They had the fast guy and then like the more established quarterback guy.
Right.
So it's like, oh, I get it. Why you want to get this kid in here who's just a game breaker and see what he does when the ball's in his hands. But I don't think Darnold is that. I mean, I know he's supposed to be more mobile, but I don't think he's like mobile, Johnny Manziel mobile.
You used to mention before, like he's not like a runner. He's just maybe a little bit more athletic than Max Brown is.
He's in the more like 2016 spread option kind of like he can do it, I guess. Whereas Max Brown's a pro style quarterback.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it, man. I don't know. If it were me, if I were the coach, I'd almost just roll with the freshman, just because.
Well, you figure. I mean, it gives you kind of like a little cushion, like a little built-in excuse. It's like, hey, we're breaking in this new guy. It's my team.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, hey, give me a year to bring this guy.
No, I mean Clay Helton has been the offensive coordinator for like 6 years, so there is that. But
it is though. It's like a built-in excuse, kind of.
It's like, oh, he's only 19 years old.
Yeah, he's a freshman. What do you want?
It's like, but look how he did towards the end of the season. You could always say that.
Right. Well, like Texas did, for example.
Exactly. So quarterback situation at USC, probably going to be Max Brown. It's neck and neck.
Okay.
Heading into the fall. Any other USC questions you got for me from the spring?
I think that's it. I mean, I guess what's your overall feeling? Like, are you feeling optimistic? Are you feeling pessimistic? Like, do they make you think half glass full or half glass empty?
Every time I get myself excited, I remember that they start with Alabama, which I guess isn't a bad thing because, everyone expects you to lose to Alabama, regardless of who you are. So you get it out of the way. Hopefully everybody learns and they right the ship when Pac-12 season comes around.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the bigger thing, right? Like, can they win the Pac-12?
I mean, they lost all those games last year and they made it to the Pac-12 title game. So
right, but like it's excluding something weird like that. Like, just are they a Pac-12 winning team?
I think they could do it. I think the South is a little weak, so that helps them out. And they have probably one of the better players in the Pac-12 with Juju Smith-Schuster.
This is true.
So, I mean, why not? I believe.
You believe. It's the season for believing, my friend.
They got the running backs. They can do it. They don't have a fullback, but that's okay. I got mad about the fullbacks all last season, so now I don't have a fullback to yell about every weekend.
I don't like fullbacks.
Yeah, what a waste. 2016.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh's not the coach. We don't need a fullback.
Fullback trap.
Yeah, exactly. All right, speaking of quarterback controversies, let's throw it over to your team, the Golden Domers. What's going on over there? They got two starting quarterbacks.
They kind of do. It's really weird. It's very awkward, and it makes me feel uncomfortable every time I think about it. I don't really like it. So I actually wrote an article today for UHND.com about how this wasn't the point of the article, but it was a part of it. It's where I just said, like, I think the quarterback competition it's almost like boring, because you knew they weren't going to come out with any sort of like resolution after the spring. Like, it's just never going to happen. For a couple of reasons. One is Malik Zaire is never going to. He's a game person. He's like everything that he does is predicated on being able to run and being able to compete and breaking tackles and escaping pressure. And it's like that sort of thing doesn't happen in just practicing.
Right.
Because
and you don't want it to.
Right, because you always have the red jersey, and it's just, it's like, so if he has to go up against a guy like Kaiser where, it's like they're just throwing 7-on-7 or in team or something, it's like he's always going to look worse, because that's not the strength of his game. And the thing about it is everyone knows this, and everyone's already seen him perform at a high level when the lights are on, quote unquote. So everyone kind of realizes, yeah, like that's the way Malik is. But at the same time, like, Kaiser is also, like, he looks great. Like, the fact that he could not be the starting quarterback, like there's a real chance, is pretty amazing to me. Like, he's like 6'3", he's 235, he has a cannon arm. I mean, people see Malik Zaire as the runner, but like Deshaun Kaiser ran for 500 yards last year and ran for 10 touchdowns. Yeah,
he had some good ones too,
including a 78-yard run for a touchdown against Temple. There's nothing, he can do all of it. The only thing he really needs is basically more experience, getting a better familiarity with the offense, and pulling the trigger a little bit more and trying to fit the ball in the tighter windows.
But Zaire probably needs that too.
Right. I mean,
at
Zaire
this point,
needs more than that. I mean, and look, in the spring game, Kaiser looked like he looked great. Like, he looked really good. Like, he's rolling out left, he's shuffling left, throwing strikes. He took a blitz up the middle, and where he did a little Brett Favre thing, like did a little sidearm pass in perfect stride to the tight end for a first down. He's rolling right and just chucking a beautiful ball to the freshman receiver who, I mean, he couldn't have run it out there and placed it in his hands better, and the freshman receiver just happened to drop it. I mean, he's making all the throws. And I just don't – I mean, this is the type of guy that, like, if he starts and plays well, like, he'll be a top 10 pick in the draft. I mean, if not higher than that. I mean, he looks great. I just don't see how they don't start the guy. But then at the same time, Malik Zaire has kind of got this, like, Tim Tebow thing going on where it's like if you just put him in the game, like, I can't imagine – like, I don't see him being denied. Like, I don't see him losing games. I've never seen him lose a game. He's won every game he's started. So,
that's true.
Now, granted, it's only 3.
But still.
But still, like, Texas and LSU were 2 of those games. So
a bowl game, even. I mean,
right. So, I mean, he hasn't turned the ball over yet. I don't know. I just don't know.
At this point, is it a bad problem to have? Like, usually, like at USC, I feel like it's a good problem where, like, one of these guys will be good, one of them won't start. Sorry, and it'll just work itself out. It's not a big deal. It won't divide the team. It won't cause any problems. Whereas here, do you think it might be a real problem? Like there's going to be
And
Zaire guys and Kaiser
I
guys?
don't think the team cares, because I think the offense, it's not one of those things where it's like one guy is clearly better than the other. Like I think the team kind of realizes that, like, no matter who it is, like they're good. Like they know those guys are good. So it's like you don't choose sides, because it's always like, usually that happens when you feel like a coach is, favoring one over the other unjustly. Like I think everyone can see how good Kaiser is, and I think everyone can see how good Zaire is. The only thing is that I think if Kaiser wins the job, I think Zaire will be fine, kind of like in the media, like he'll do the PC thing, and then he'll transfer
I mean, he has
after
to.
the season. Well, he'll graduate, transfer, and then he'll have the fifth year to himself, basically. And then I think when that happens, he will go off on Kelly, like in the media, because basically Zaire, he would have passed up on him twice. And it's like, if you look at it from Zaire's point of view, like, I'm sorry that I broke my ankle, but like before that, I was playing amazing. I won the job outright, and I was playing great. I got hurt, and then you gave the job to somebody else. And the other part of this situation is that you have Brandon Wimbush, who was a freshman last year, who was supposed to redshirt, but then he didn't because Zaire got hurt. Everyone's talking about how great he looks, but it's like he's not going to play over Zaire or Kaiser, but no one wants him going anywhere. So Kelly has to manage this current quarterback situation while also keeping in mind, like, you have this guy who everyone says is amazing or is going to be amazing.
What's his arm accuracy like? Like I know he's a good runner. He showed that last year, but what's his arm accuracy like?
It's
fine.
Has like a kind of it's fine. Yeah, like he has a kind of a weird throwing motion. It's one of those things, like, now it's probably not as good as it will be because he probably doesn't have as much focus because he knows, like, I'm not really going to play. If he was pressed into duty, like, for whatever reason, like, I would be totally fine with it. He's just not at the level of, like, Kaiser and Zaire.
Well, speaking of the quarterbacks, I saw Brian Van Gorder's kid threw a touchdown pass in the spring game.
He ran for one, yes.
Oh, he ran. My bad.
Yeah, he ran for it against his dad's defense.
Fitting. Well, he knows the weak spots.
He knows the weak spots.
He's seen it his whole life.
He's like, hey, Dad, you're kind of rough against this quarterback draw. Let me run that real quick.
All right. So what are you most excited about from the spring for Notre Dame football? Since we got the quarterbacks out of the way.
I'm excited about. I mean, when you're answering your questions, I was like, wow, it's very similar. The running backs are great. They've got Tarian Folston back. They have Josh Adams back, and they have this guy Dexter Williams, who is a sophomore who looks
supposed to be looking real good.
He looks real good. So they're going to be fine at that. I have the offensive line on the right side is kind of in flux. I'm just not worried about it. They have, like, Harry Houston's a great line coach. They have a lot of talent. They'll figure it out. The line doesn't really concern me. Like, the offense as a whole, they're going to score 35 some odd points a game. They just will. And, as we talk about these quarterbacks, like, really what they should do is, because either one of them can move the ball, right? Really what they should do is they should just get into fall practice and just all practice work in the red zone. Just chart it out. Who scores more touchdowns in the red zone as the quarterback? That's the guy who needs to be the quarterback. Because that was the whole problem last year. Like, there's no question. Like, either one of these guys is going to move the ball in between the 20s. They just will. Okay, there's too many weapons. There's the type of offense that they run, the type of quarterbacks that they are. Like, they're going to move the ball. Like, who's more efficient inside the red zone? And that's who should win the job. I
Now,
mean, they probably won't do that, but
I just thought of something crazy.
go.
Do you think in college football it would be possible to have a red zone package to where, because there's three good running backs. Besides Torrey Hunter, there's like six good wide receivers. They don't really have a tight end. So there's like a million guys who could play tight end. And there's two quarterbacks. Like, would it be possible to just sub in six guys who are like, oh, these are our red zone guys. Like, we do whatever we want between the 20s, but these are our red zone guys, and this is like our scoring package. Like, I know that's
Um,
weird and like,
I
I don't
think
know.
I think I think there's a place for it. Notre Dame wouldn't do that.
It's too out there.
It's too out there, and it's something like it's the kind of thing that gets Brian Kelly fired.
Okay.
So like he wouldn't do it. I mean, he's probably too like it's such a gimmick. Like he's probably too proud to even try something like that.
Like, if they're your best players, weren't they out there all the time?
Yeah, it's like why do we need to do these gimmicks? Like I'll just do it normal kind of thing. Like we'll just run our normal stuff. So like I could see it happening. Like I mean we've kind of seen it. Like Tim Tebow, like he was the goal line guy. They did
Just for
totally different things.
That's true. They won a
Like
national title.
Oklahoma, yeah, Oklahoma had that Blake Bell character for a little bit. So they did
But
different things.
but I feel like these are actually good. Like, not like Tim Tebow wasn't good, or these like a real like court. Like, these are viable options at Notre Dame.
Right.
All at every skill position, I feel like there is someone who is a viable starter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
I mean
crazy.
the receivers are young. I mean that's kind of the only thing with the offense is the receivers are young and unproven, but I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about it.
So you're most excited about the offense. I have a hunch. What worries you the most?
Well, I mean safety for one. Just
This freshman kid, isn't he getting a lot of run?
I'm telling you right now, he's gonna start. He's starting over Max Redfield, and I've been thinking about it. Max Redfield. I used to think that it was just like, oh, he just needs to get focused, or he needs more time. Once he figures out this defense, finally, the light switch will come on, and he'll be good. And I've come to the realization that he's just not a good football player. He's a great athlete. He's been on the field a ton in 3 years. The guy makes no plays. He's just not a good football player. Like, he doesn't have instincts. He doesn't have any sort of intangible quality. He's not a great tackler. Like on the touchdown run by the freshman kid or the sophomore Dexter Williams, the guy breaks two tackles, one of which is Max Redfield, who's unblocked, has a free run, and just misses. And like that sort of thing, like you can't do that. Like they're not going to play a guy who they can't count on to make a simple play like that. And I think the freshman kid, like I just think, you know what, like he may not be super flashy, but like they can count on him to make like a tackle in that position.
Since we are podcast professionals, his name is Devin Studstill, right?
Devin Studstill.
Studstill. Okay.
He is still a stud.
I flipped the T around. My bad.
No, you're all good. So yeah, Devin Studstill. He's a good player. He's good.
Yeah, I keep seeing his name everywhere. So good job, Devin.
Yeah, I mean the defensive line, just like what you said. I mean, who knows? Like if anything happens to Isaac Rochelle, Jerron Jones, I don't know. It's almost like USC with receiver. Like they have a ton of bodies. Like which one of these guys is going to step up and be good?
Well, one of them just got kicked off the team.
Right. Exactly. For doing who knows what. I mean, apparently, like he's got something going on to where like he wasn't even competitive
Uh-oh.
in the spring. Yeah, not good.
His head was somewhere else.
His head was somewhere else, and I have no idea what happened.
We wish him the best.
I don't even have a rumor. Yeah, good luck to you, my friend Grant Blankenship. Good luck.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the good news is apparently this Dalen Hayes kid, former USC commit.
Yep. Thanks, Sarkeesian.
He hasn't. So he 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 didn't go like full contact or anything because of his shoulder, but apparently he looks awesome. Brian Van Gorder's talking about him like he's going to be on the field, rushing the passer a ton this year, which is good because they need that.
I'll believe it when I see it, but not because he's bad. Not because he's bad, just because rushing the passer doesn't seem like something Notre Dame likes to do.
He might be in coverage. Who knows?
Exactly.
I think, and this kind of goes along with like one of the more exciting things. I think the good news is that by all accounts, the guy replacing Joe Schmidt, Niles Morgan, has looked really good.
Well, I was going to bring it up. Our friends over at 1 Foot Down, I was perusing over there, and they had some clips from the spring game.
Yeah.
And it was really funny because they had a GIF of Niles Morgan. And it was just like, look, he did the right thing. That was the whole. He didn't make the tackle. He didn't make an interception or a fumble recovery. All he did was like fill a gap and do what he was supposed to do. That was the whole highlight. It's like, look, he knows what he's doing, guys. I swear. And I thought that was really funny.
I actually, so the article I wrote for UHND is basically about that very thing, about how important the middle linebacker is in this defense. I mean, they have so much responsibility. Like, they have to call the defense. I mean, basically, like, the middle linebacker spot is the quarterback competition that, like, everyone should be talking about, but everyone actually talks about the quarterbacks. But they should be talking about, like, what's going on with Niles Morgan. Because if he's not good, then everything we're talking about just, like, doesn't matter. Like, Notre Dame's good on offense, but they're not great enough to overcome a poo-poo defense like they had last year. And they were poo-poo because you have a guy in the middle who, and I compared him to Tommy Rees, like, they don't make plays. Like, Joe Schmidt did not make any plays last year. He got everyone lined up. He's essentially a game manager. But, I mean, this guy had Jalen Smith next to him and Sheldon Day in front of him. And the defense was still bad. And it's because that spot has to be good for this defense to work. They're key in coverage. Van Gorder loves to send the middle linebacker on blitzes. And they're a one-gap team where if someone takes the wrong gap, and they're probably the reason that 1 Foot Down was saying, like, hey, look, he did the right thing. It's because everyone has to have their responsibilities. Because if you miss on your responsibility, like we saw against stink team UMass, some guys running 80 yards for a touchdown. So if he's just doing the simple things right, and he's such a good athlete, he's so big, he's so strong, he's so fast, if he can just do the little things like he's supposed to, then this team actually has a chance. Like, they have a chance. If they're a top 20, 30 defense, you put that with your top 20, 30 offense. With this schedule, you're going to win a lot of games. And hopefully, they can go to USC with 1 loss, 0 losses, something like that. You're actually playing for something at the end of the year. And the key to the whole season, in my opinion, is Niles Morgan.
Wow,
like, assuming health. I really think that. I really think, like, he is the key to everything. Because if something happens to him, or if he's not good, then it doesn't matter how good Deshaun Kaiser is. It doesn't matter how good Malik Zaire is. I mean, last year the offensive line was amazing. Like, they had C.J. Prosise, who averaged 8 yards a carry. They had Will Fuller, who destroyed people every week. 10-3. Why? Because their defense was doo-doo.
That is factually correct.
You just can't have a bad middle linebacker. You just cannot. And the good news is that by all accounts, he was great. He had a really good spring. It seemed like, the fact that Joe Schmidt is gone and he doesn't have to worry about him anymore. He knows it's his job, and he can take on a leadership role without having to feel like, oh, well, Joe Schmidt's just going to be the starter anyway. Now that is kind of like the reins have kind of come off, he's ready to go. Like, that should be the thing that excites every Notre Dame fan.
I got nothing to say to that. You left me speechless. I mean, you hit it right on the head. I mean, your analysis of Niles Morgan is spot on.
Yeah. So look, man, every Notre Dame fan should just be cheering for him, praying for good health for him, because he holds the key. I'm telling you.
Do you have any other fun Notre Dame news and notes from around campus?
Uh, Fun Notre Dame news and notes. I feel like there are some.
It's been pretty quiet, man. As someone
I
who
mean,
perused,
there's not a lot going on. Like there's some guys like it's hard for me to really get excited about individual units because they mix match them all the time. But like individual players look really good. Like the Sean Crawford guy, who's a corner. I swear, he's honestly he's Notre Dame's Adoree Jackson.
did he get a sack?
No, he almost got a sack. He's he's a really good blitzer. He's really good in the slot. He's just tenacious, and he's really tiny. He's like Adoree Jackson. He's like a Notre Dame's Adoree Jackson.
He probably has just as much of a chance of making the Olympic team.
He's gonna play. He's gonna play a ton. I'm telling you, Notre Dame is gonna play so much nickel this year, and he's gonna be the nickel corner. Like nickel is almost gonna be their base defense, mostly because he is one of their best 11 defenders. Like they have to get him on the field.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Get your best guys out there.
Get him out.
I'm trying to think if I've seen anything fun from Notre Dame. No, it's mostly just about spring practices and no fun jersey stuff. No.
The Notre Dame Texas game's happening on a Sunday.
Oh yeah, that did happen while we were gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
I mean, it's cool, right? But this is the problem with that is Brian Kelly last year already doesn't like a ton of night games because, especially road night games, because they get home late and it's basically just kind of a shorter week, right? You
steal a day.
So you steal a day. You get home late, so therefore you sleep late. You don't really sleep that well. You have to come in for treatment. You basically lose a day, right? Well, now, not only do they literally lose a day because you're not playing on Saturday anymore, you're playing on Sunday, but then you're playing on Sunday night. So that means you're getting in Monday morning. And then you have to ramp up again on Tuesday, and then they have to play Saturday. It's not like the game the next week is all of a sudden moved backward.
Right. No, that is rough. And you know who else loses a day? Two guys who record a Notre Dame podcast on Sunday nights.
Boom. Maybe we should do a live pod, Mike.
Oh my God, that's season 2, episode 1.
Me screaming it. What are you doing?
Sunday night.
Oh man, we do lose a day. So yeah, so I say their next opponent is at home against Nevada after the Texas game. Take Nevada in the points. I'm just telling you right now.
The pack is on the attack. Let's see, USC notes. Something's weird is going on with the USC jerseys, overall athletically. Not the football ones though. I guess that's too iconic. And the shiny helmets are gone, is what I heard. I heard Clay Helton doesn't like the shiny helmets, which is weird. Cause I like the shiny helmets. So they're going back to the regular matte. I guess not even matte because that's cool too. They're just going back to the regular Cardinal. Clay Helton seems like a real boring guy.
Man, Clay Helton, he's really. I don't like the helmets for changing them.
Okay, they're too shiny, I think, is what his complaint was. They're too flashy.
What?
It's don't you know, where you are, man? That's what I started with.
Why don't you just coach?
Steer into the skid, Go with it.
It's why don't you win a game before you start
Yeah, beat Oregon in their flashy uniforms.
Yeah, and start changing the uniforms. Goofball.
I know. I think that's it for for USC Notre Dame talk. Should we tell? I think we have to tell everyone our exciting event that's happening next week.
Absolutely.
So Greg and I, as two college football podcasters, are teaming up with the Tiltingground NFL podcast, Tim and Justin. We're going to do a mock draft of the NFL first round.
Yes, sir.
So that should be just exciting, fun, tenacious, a whirlwind of football information.
A whirlwind.
And for all the USC fans, I have the last pick of the draft. There's a real chance that Sua Craven goes in the first round.
Oh, wow.
That's all I'm saying. Or Notre Dame fans, there's a real chance that Jalen Smith goes in the first round from Greg or myself.
By the way, I have a friend who's a orthopedic surgeon. All this Jalen Smith, like, we don't know when he's ever going to play again talk. People need to pump the brakes on that.
Just a little like draft like gossip drama.
He and I had a long, like, not a long conversation, but a conversation. And all this talk about, like, oh, I don't know when he's ever going to play. Like, just everyone needs to calm down with that. I think let me just say, I think there's a lot of teams out there who would really love for him to fall to like 28 or 29 or whatever.
If only there was some team who should be picking 30th who could use a linebacker.
No, yeah.
But they don't have a pick, so
they don't have a pick.
Damn.
Well, I'll tell you what, Michael. If the Pats somehow end up with Jalen Smith, I will officially become a Pats fan.
Oh, nothing would make me happier.
Yes, sir.
So, I think that's it for today. I don't know when we're going to come back after this one, Greg. Do you have any thoughts, any ideas?
I don't know, man. We might have to come up with something. I mean, we said we only bring quality content, so I don't know. Hopefully, nothing terrible happens that we need to talk about.
That's a great point.
Yeah, we'll find something relevant to discuss.
We won't go longer than this last break. That's for sure. If you want to follow us, you can follow us at tiltingground.com. All the podcasts are up there. You can find us on iTunes. It's actually, if you type in USC or Notre Dame, we're like the 5th podcast if you use that search term. There's links at the website. What else? We have a Facebook page that people should go to, and they would have found out that Notre Dame has a Sunday night game. Clay Helton hates Hollywood. Jalen Smith's nerve damage. You find all those things out and more. I try to put the latest stories at least once a day.
Michael,
yes,
put
sir.
up my article from USC.
Oh, yes, that's what I was going to say. I totally forgot I should take notes. I was going to say, Greg's article will be up tomorrow. There'll be a link on the Facebook page right below the podcast, where the latest podcast episode is always there on the Facebook page. Greg, what's your Twitter?
At Greg2126.
Any good tweets lately? Any Twitter wars? No Twitter wars?
No, I'm staying low. I'm staying low key.
Fair enough. I'm Michael Muto on Twitter. I've been getting progressively funnier, so if you follow me, it's worth the follow. And there's Tiltingground on Twitter. We will have all the website updates and podcast updates there. Other than that, fight on, everybody.
Go Irish.